Big news dropped yesterday. The SEC has officially dismissed its lawsuit against Coinbase. No settlement, no face-saving moves, just a flat-out dismissal. This is almost unheard of in the crypto world, and analysts are calling it unprecedented. Yet here we are. Why did this happen? Simple. The tide has turned. With Trump back in charge, the US government is waving the pro-crypto flag loud and clear. This dismissal sends a powerful message. Crypto is no longer under siege. And while the new SEC chair, likely Paul Atkins, hasn't even been confirmed yet, this move speaks volumes. The war on crypto, it's over. For the XRP community, this is a huge win. The Coinbase lawsuit was a major threat, targeting exchanges that are critical to the ecosystem. For years, XRP itself was in the crosshairs, and then they came after Coinbase. A direct hit to so many of our portfolios. Now, with this lawsuit gone, we can breathe a little easier. It feels like the dominoes are finally falling and the path ahead looks brighter than ever. Stay bullish, my friends. It's beyond frustrating to see attempts to damage so many people's net worth on shaky grounds. And here's the kicker. Why toss out the Coinbase case before addressing the Ripple lawsuit, especially since the Ripple case started first? That question hit me hard as the news broke yesterday, and I didn't have an answer at the time. But after hearing tons of perspectives, things started to make sense. It's complicated, but there are solid reasons, and I'm here to break it down. First off, let me be clear. I'm not a financial expert. This isn't financial advice, so don't go buying or selling anything based on my thoughts. I'm just a crypto enthusiast sharing insights for fun. Now, let's dive in. Fox Business journalist Eleanor Terrett recently revealed why the SEC is dragging its feet on the Ripple case. While the SEC just dropped its lawsuit against Coinbase, signaling a shift in its crypto enforcement strategy under acting chair Mark Uyeda, the Ripple lawsuit, which has been running since December 2020, remains unresolved. Why? According to Terrett, it boils down to the procedural complexity of the case. Though technically the Ripple lawsuit ended, and what we're dealing with now is the appeal, the SEC's hesitation isn't necessarily a sign the appeal will go the distance. The situation is nuanced, but one thing's certain. It's a tangled web that's far from over. I wanted to share a fascinating post from Sherry, an active member of the XRP community at Sherry Empress 21. Now, I'm not sure about her professional background, whether she's a lawyer or not, but her legal insights are impressively sharp, rivaling those of attorneys like Jeremy Hogan, John Deaton, Bill Morgan, and others who've been covering XRP developments closely. Sherry's clarity and depth make her someone worth listening to. In her latest post, she dives into why Ripple's case is procedurally more complex than Coinbase's. Ripple already has an order from Judge Torres at the district level to pay a $125 million penalty. According to the final judgment, Judge Torres will maintain jurisdiction over the case until August 7, 2025 to ensure compliance. This adds an extra layer of complexity compared to Coinbase's situation. Just as a quick refresher, while XRP gained legal clarity back on July 13, 2023, the final judgment, penalties and all, wasn't issued until August 7, 2024. Sherry also highlights another potential twist. If the SEC decides to drop its appeal at the Second Circuit, it would still need to navigate the district court to address the penalty ruling. Any changes would likely require Judge Torres' approval. We're in uncharted territory, and as one legal source put it, there's a lot of uncertainty. Judge Torres has already made her ruling, which raises intriguing questions. Could anything that happens next be seen as undermining her decision? Let me share some of the chatter around this. Yesterday, Coinbase's chief legal officer, Paul Grewal, announced the case dismissal in a thread. Among the responses was Sherry, who simply said, "Congratulations. I'm super happy for you guys." Then came the blockchain backer with a thought-provoking question. "All right, Sherry, I respect your opinion tremendously. What do you think? Odds of Ripple withdrawing its appeal?" It's a question on everyone's mind. For me, the bigger curiosity is when and why the appeal hasn't been dropped yet. It seems inevitable, especially with the unresolved penalties hanging in the balance. But Sherry's response added some depth. Ripple's situation is trickier, given the existing ruling they have to navigate. I can see a scenario where the party seeks a penalty reduction order. That said, I believe the chances of this case going before the panel have dropped significantly. This isn't just empty talk about the so-called war on crypto being over. It's action, clear and bold. The SEC and Ripple saga seems to be shifting gears, and I doubt there's much left to escalate on the SEC's end. Now, wouldn't it be something if the penalty is actually reduced? Makes you wonder how Torres might feel about that. Attorney Bill Morgan chimed in, pointing out the Ripple cross appeal still in play. Sherry responded, noting that Ripple likely wouldn't have filed their cross appeal had the SEC not appealed first. With Ripple's request to extend their filing until April, it seems clear they're strategizing their next steps carefully. Honestly, I agree, Ripple wasn't looking to stir the pot. If the SEC hadn't made the first move, Ripple would have probably paid the penalty quietly and moved forward. Not happily, sure, but without drama. Ripple seems to be emerging from this legal battle relatively unscathed, aside from the financial hit. The only real changes involve specific circumstances around how XRP can be used, but even that remains a bit of a question mark. Overall, Ripple as a company is poised to come out just fine. As for the idea of a settlement over outright dismissal, it's an interesting twist. Some speculate that Ripple could request a reduction in penalties, leaving Judge Torres' ruling intact while paying the $125 million fine. Honestly, Ripple might not see that as the worst outcome. They'd avoid an appeal and move forward. And let's face it, the broader crypto war is over. As Trump famously said, it's done. But what about the SEC? It's hard to imagine they'd just drop their appeal unless Ripple does the same, and that seems unlikely. If the SEC did pull back, though, it would be a huge slap in the face to the previous leadership, Gensler and company. That kind of move would signal a dramatic shift in how regulatory control over crypto is approached. Still, it feels like the SEC isn't ready to give up its grip just yet. Imagine this. The SEC under Trump's administration decides to drop their appeal against Ripple, just like that. No penalties, no drawn-out battles, just a clean exit. Wouldn't that be wild? Not saying it's likely, but the thought alone is pretty amusing. Ripple would still have their own appeal to push forward if they wanted, but hey, the SEC just stepping back, that's comedy gold. Now, someone named Lee Rock chimed in saying they thought withdrawing an appeal would be easier since the case was already decided. Guess not. But what's more surprising? The possibility of a penalty reduction. From $200 million down to $10 million, that's a massive cut. Although, technically, the penalty was $125 million. Or was it more? I'd have to double check, but either way, a reduction like that is huge. Sherry had an interesting take, though. She doubts the SEC would ever agree to something like this. It'd almost undermine Judge Torres' review of the case. Then again, who knows? Maybe Ripple could be persuaded to drop their appeal with the right offer on the table. Sure, let me summarize and give it a creative spin. The ripple effects, pun intended, of the SEC drama are getting interesting. Attorney Jeremy Hogan's witty take on the SEC Ripple Coinbase saga is too good not to share. Responding to Eleanor Tarrant's post, Hogan humorously explained, Coinbase and the SEC broke up after a couple of dates. Ripple and the SEC moved in together and even have a baby on the way. The breakup just takes longer. Perfect analogy, right? It highlights how Ripple's case with the SEC is far more complex than Coinbase's quick dismissal. Speaking of Coinbase, Hogan pointed out something big. The Coinbase case was dismissed with prejudice, meaning it's dead in the water. No settlements, no refiling. The SEC clearly isn't waiting for Gensler's replacement to shake up the crypto world. Hogan even threw in a Judge Judy gif tapping her watch, asking, Ripple, what's next? And Ripple fans, you might love this. Hogan believes the SEC will settle or drop the Ripple case soon, possibly as early as April or May. Confidence levels are high, and this latest development might just add more fuel to the fire. Quick flashback. Remember Jorge Tenreiro, the SEC's lead attorney in the Ripple case? He's the mastermind behind years of legal back and forth. In December, SEC Chair Gary Gensler gave him a promotion, chief litigator or some fancy title. A final act from Gensler before things potentially unravel. The irony is chef's kiss. Let's see how this unfolds. In a twist straight out of a sitcom, Jorge Tenreiro, once the SEC's top crypto cop and lead attorney in the Ripple case, now finds himself demoted to the IT department. Yes, you read that right. This isn't satire. It's an actual headline from Cointelegraph. SEC moves its former top crypto cop Tenreiro to IT office, February 6th. You can't make this stuff up. This meteoric fall from grace is a chef's kiss moment for those of us who followed his actions in the Ripple case. Let's just say Tenreiro wasn't exactly winning any good faith arguments during his tenure. The moves he made, harmful, unethical, and downright baffling. And now, the man who once led the charge against Ripple is left troubleshooting printers and resetting passwords. Karma works fast sometimes. Attorney John Deaton had the perfect reaction. Someone needs to head down to the SEC basement, knock on the IT office door, it probably has IT support taped to it, and check on Jorge Tenreiro. Brutal, but hilarious. For XRP holders, this news is just another reason to smile. Yes, Ripple still has a few complexities to sort out, and the Coinbase case may have gotten quicker action due to its simpler path. But don't sweat it. The appeal isn't moving forward yet, and everything's still on track. Just hang tight a bit longer. Oh, and a friendly reminder. I'm not a financial advisor. Don't buy or sell anything based on my ramblings. Seriously, that's a terrible idea.